Hi, so this is just the continuation of the discussion in regards to the professionals and practitioners of social work. So, at this moment, we are on the last topic for social work, which talks about the clientele and audiences in social work. So, sino nga ba yung mga tao na talagang binibigyang pansin or mga tao or group of organizations na pinabigyang pansin ng ating mga social workers. So, social workers cater to a varied kind of clients from different social and ethical backgrounds. So, si social workers daw, it caters or they caters different um, group of clients or varied, nagkakaiba, coming from different social and ethical background. So these clients have individual needs and should be assessed personally based on the information of the case so that a social welfare program will be implemented. Sometimes social workers handle a group of organization, and in most instances, they handle a whole community. Now, that's the best thing for social workers kasi nga, hindi lang sila nakafocus on the individual alone, but instead in most cases kasi, the situations or the problems that they are addressing with are those that came from communities. Kaya nga nagmamanage sila ng isang buong komunidad. Now we have here the first client of social workers. We have individual. So this is the most common client of social workers. The individual is assessed to determine which social welfare fits to his or her case. Most likely, the individual needs for rehabilitation, capacity building, self-determination, and involvement are the aspects that the social workers should address. So, ito yung, um, I mean, individuals, sila ang kasagaran na client ng isang social workers. So, social workers, in order to address the problems coming from the individuals whom ask their guidance or who ask their um, advice or for their solution. So most of the social workers resort to rehabilitation or implementing rehabilitation or capacity building and any other social welfare program that would address to the needs of the individual client. The next one after individuals are groups and organization. One of the roles of a social worker is a leader. He leads the team. So a social worker who leads set goal for a group or an organization to establish a mutually beneficial source of change for holistic attainment of a vision. Many non-government organizations and community groups employ the aid of a social worker to ensure that the clients or the group or organizations and members will have professional help. The social worker may also serve as linkage to public and private resources for the group or organization. So, marami din kasi class sa mga grupo ng mga individual or group of organizations na nanghihingi ng tulong sa social or sa ating mga social workers. So, the social workers serves as a leader if ever they're going to address the problem coming from the groups and or coming from these groups of um, people or organizations. And then they also act as a broker kasi nga sila din yung maghahanap ng mga resources that would fund the program that they will going to implement along the way. Alright, so next one, of course, another client of a social worker is communities or our communities. A community social workers A community social worker gives intervention to communities that will make it function properly. Social workers view community as an integral part of the holistic welfare of a person, including inclusion to a peaceful communal group that in turn is an environment conducive for social interaction. So, social workers who are working in a community aims to provide every members of its community a peaceful, um, peaceful home to live. Kasi nga, they make sure that there are no criminal cases that is going on or walang mga masasamang mangyari sa kanilang kapaligiran. So, that is why social workers are very important in a community to maintain peacefulness and harmonious living. Next one, we have here, so we are done with the clientele of social work. So, we have here settings in social work. So, saan-saan nga ba pwede or makikita natin ang isang social worker. So, first one we have here, government. Yes, it is very true because government without social workers would seem imbalance. So, dili siya, do maka-stand alone ang government without social workers, but it's just that dili siya complete. So, dili siya at full potential na maka-function si government without social worker. Now, the government has an arm that focuses on social welfare and development. This office, oh my god, is called the Department of Social Welfare and Development, or DSWD. So it is a department that administers all social welfare programs and interventions of the government given to all citizens free of charge. So kaya nga yung DSWD natin, sila din yung nagka-handle ng mga programs for those needy sectors in our community or yung mga mahihirap talaga. Kaya nga merong 4Ps. So, intended talaga siya, or this program was intended for those very poor Filipino families. Now, they provide financial assistance, schooling, or yes, they provide or they support educational assistance also for the children of these poor families, even health or even food assistance. And the welfare programs that is given by these DSWD are free of charge. That means walang babayaran ang mga tao. Professional social workers are consistently supporting marginalized members of the society for welfare and development. Kasi nga yun yung aim ng social workers to have or to provide equity towards these marginalized people in the community. Kasi nga sila yung nale-left out or parang sila yung hindi talaga nabibigyang pansin. So that is the role of the social worker, to provide attention to them and to at least provide them comfort. Hindi man yung comfort na talagang luxurious, but at least there is an alleviation of the status when it comes to their way of living. Yan. Now, so these are the vision, mission, core values, and outcome for disability. So you can just read it. And then the next one, so another settings wherein social workers can be found are in private sector. So private sector consists of the non-government organization or NGOs, welfare groups, and private foundations that assist the DSWD in providing social welfare programs. Social workers are part of these private institutions to support program led by the DSWD. Most private sectors give specific help to beneficiaries like educational assistance, counseling, housing, medical programs, and the like. The people behind these private organizations employ social works to ensure the quality of their service to their clients. Like for example, class, di ba, we all know that before na pasara yung ABS-CBN, di ba, they have what we call Bantay Bata 163. So, that is also a form of social welfare program coming from private sectors, and they employ social workers to assess or to lead their program. Kasi nga, social workers are the one who reach out those marginalized sectors in our community. So example here, we have Ministerial's Rhythm of Hope Incorporation. Marami din namang private sector class here in our country, just like the Ayala Foundation, ano pa, SM, like educational assistance, I think nagahatag og educational assistance or scholars ang SM company. Same also with the Jollibee, diba na sila yung mga scholars pod. Same with the A of Florenda scholars. So, these private sectors provides financial assistance and educational assistance towards those deserving students. And of course, they always maximize their help towards these individuals by using social workers to determine if this type of or if this student truly deserve their help. Okay. So, ito yung kanilang mission, vision, goal, objectives. So, you can just read it naman. So, next one, another settings wherein social workers are in demand is in our civil society. Social workers immerse themselves in the civil society. They provide intervention for welfare of the community and construct an environment beneficial to every member that seeks to reach the certain goal provided by the government in accordance to civic rights and duties. So, example class of civic societies are those atong simbahan, church, ano pa, schools, youth, youth clubs, nagbaklas, bali, any other kind of small subgroups in our community. So, schools, all the schools have licensed guidance counselors, academic institutions. They also need social worker for different programs concerning the social welfare of the students. So, some students' cases require to be processed by a professional social worker outside the responsibilities of the guidance counselor. Kasi nga, napakaganda ng social worker because it trains you to become a flexible person. Because in guidance counseling, you just focus on giving advices or giving sets of choices to your students. Sa counselor, sa social workers kasi, iba. It depends as to kung anong demand or kung anong problem ang nakikita nila sa isang estudyante. So, home visitation, demographic profiling, family and school intervention, and child protection are some dimensions of social work that need to be attended in school. Kaya nga meron tayong child welfare. Tapos, child welfare programs would not run if there are no social workers who are acting on it. Same with home visitation, school intervention, ganyan. So, it needs the functions of social worker. Now, we have here community. So, we are done with this, with the government, with the private sectors, with the civil society, and now we have community, the last settings where we can find social worker. So, as what has been discussed in the previous lesson, as social workers need to address the needs of community. Some avenues for a social worker in the community are, first one, disaster preparedness, prevention, and rehabilitation. So, pwede dito, makikita natin usually ang social workers na nagtatrabaho sa area na ito. Stress debriefing for victims of different circumstances. Kasi nga, they act as counselors. So, social workers can provide advices to the victims of stressful events. Child and woman protection programs. Family interventions. Kaya nga, merong symposium on every barangay to raise awareness when it comes to child abuse and women's abuse, and of course, their human rights. Then, family interventions. So, if there are couple na always na lang sila nag-quarrel, then, or always na lang sila nag-aaway, and then, ma-disturb na nilang ilang silingan, then, social workers can act on it. So, it may intervene, pwede nila ipatawag ang hingtungdan or yung family talaga na palagi nag-aaway, pwede nila padun sa barangay, then, try to reconcile, then, or kanang go counseling, just to address the current problems when it comes to family intervention, or intervening with the problems that came from families, that came from the members and their society. Next one is health programs. So, kaya nga maraming social workers na nagtatrabaho and nagbibigay ng mga libreng gamot sa ating clinics or sa ating barangay. Next one is social and community interventions, followed by needs assessment for future welfare programs. So, kini siya social and community interventions is just it just signifies social welfare programs that address the current or the obvious problems in the society, especially when it comes to social interaction, which involves people or the relationship of the members in a society. Next one is needs assessment for future welfare programs. Then followed by capacity building, intervention and rehabilitation programs for substance abuse. Last one is livelihood and literacy services. So masabtan naman ni siyang uban class. So ang capacity building, ana siya class kanang it just social workers create welfare programs that would realize or that would build the potentials on every member of the society, especially those members nga nag-think na wala na sila purpose or their life seems so doomed or naglibog na sila unsa na direction na ilang i-follow. So the social workers can create programs that would enhance or that would promote capacity building and will soon help the members realize their full potential. So when it comes to intervention or rehabilitation programs, ito na yung for individuals nga naga-undergo og kanang mental disabilities, especially gamit sila og or they tend to abuse, they tend to have substance abuse, or nagagamit na sila mga pinagbabawal na gamot, then they can have rehabilitation or pwede po ng kanang smoke, alcohol addiction, cigarette smoking. Yes, they can have a rehabilitation program. Then livelihood and literacy services. Para na ni sila sa kanang community na walay source of income, then social workers can raise or can suggest businesses nga possible i-open sa members sa ilang society para ma-address ang low income na problem and ma-address pod ang kanang kalisud jud sa ilang komunidad. Then for the literacy services, it just talks about those basic literacy, the reading and writing, and then the numeracy skills, yung multiplication or the basic arithmetic skills, addition, ganyan. So, mostly, ang target when it comes to literacy services are the youth, yung mga kabataan na hindi nag-aaral. Okay, so, that is the last topic for the lesson or for the social work. So, medyo mubo lang siya, so okay lang kaayo.